I'm Toby from Foxtrotter's Forge.
And I'm DK. We'll be discussing monsters, and tangents are encouraged. Alright, so we got kind of this new segment we might start doing here. We're going to talk about a couple of monsters. Each take one monster. Right now we just have them from the standard 5th edition Wizards of the Coast products, but we might expand at a later time. Today I've got the Froghemoth. You said before we started recording you never heard of this. It's located in Bolo's Guide to Monsters. To describe it physically, you can imagine it is a frog-type monster, obviously, but it's about the size of an elephant.
Okay.
So it has this large mouth kind of on the front. It basically takes up almost its full body.
Mouth with legs.
Essentially. It's got these tentacles that come off instead of arms.
Oh.
And then the way it kind of navigates in the water is it has these 3 eyes on an eye stalk.
That's
that
not
kind of,
terrifying at all.
That kind of stick up out of the water. So if you were to run into one, you'd most likely maybe just see its little eyes, you know.
I'm definitely
periscoping out of the water.
I'm picturing the Star Wars scene where the little eye comes up out of like the trash heap that they're in and then goes back down.
Yes, almost similar to that. You'd find it in a swamp, so swampy, marshy areas. It'll hide out in the water, and then kind of spring forth, much like a frog would. They kind of have a weird lore with them. They're described as being otherworldly creatures.
It sounds like it, with tentacle legs, yeah.
I guess that in the lore it says that there was a wizard who was kind of doing research on them and was saying that they come from these metal containers underground. Like they come from another planet and were sent here long ago.
So like the prep for War of the Worlds.
Okay. Yeah, they like get shot into the ground or have been here for so long, and then they pop up in these swampy marsh areas. They're just really interesting in their design. They can be revered by bullywugs. So
makes sense.
Big frog. Oh, let's follow the big frog.
Mm-hmm.
He's they treat him like gods sometimes. It's kind of weird. But really, they are kind of just more like a animal type creature. They're not intelligent. Really.
What are their what's their class?
Like the creature type.
Yeah.
Monstrosity.
Okay.
Let me double check here. Yeah. Monstrosity. So I mean, a lot of the monstrosities now are beasts, but they're like modified in some way. Some might have some kind of magic. I mean, diving into kind of like its stats and stuff like that. When I first was reading about this, I found it in the Tomb of Annihilation, so I'm running that. And it was kind of one of the creatures that's kind of there. They put it into a position where you almost are forced to run into it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was kind of doing prep for the session, I didn't really look at it. I just assumed, I guess, and kind of looked at its stat block. It didn't look like it had anything too crazy, magic or anything that I would have to use its tactics. It seemed more like just a big bag of hit points, really. But once I started looking into its stat block, kind of just right as the battle was starting, I was like, it has kind of a lot of effects where it can grapple and restrain.
Mm-hmm.
And then playing it, I got probably in the second round of combat, and it clicked for me. Like this creature, it kind of has this crowd control thing that it kind of does when you're playing it. So it can grapple people with its tentacles. It has 4 tentacles, so it can hold 4 people, snatching up 2 people in one turn.
Oh wow!
But then it also can use its tongue, if you'd like to do that, and you'll get like an almost instant swallow effect. Or it can just put one of the creatures into its mouth and use the swallow effect that way. It grapples them, which, I mean, that's already pretty hard for most characters to get out of.
Yep.
Especially like a lot of people dump strength, so they can use dexterity, but then you're only really talking about like rogues and some fighters are getting out of that pretty easy.
Rangers.
rangers, but then the swallow ability becomes blinded and restrained, and you're pretty much stuck at that point. I mean, you can hit its hit point threshold it has. You know, the kind of the usual thing that they have in a lot of the stat blocks is you do a certain amount of damage to it while you're on the inside of it, and it regurgitates you.
But if you're restrained, you can't attack. Or are you talking about the people on the outside?
You can attack while you're restrained, actually. I believe you are... Let me double check. I'm restrained. But I believe you are...
Disadvantage?
Disadvantage on attacks. Same with grappled. The restrained condition just allows you... Oh, off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I know that they were able to do damage from the inside, but it's definitely a lot harder than... You know, when you're grappled, you can get out of it. Restrained, you cannot get out of restrained. You have to attack out of it. So attack rolls against the creature have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage. You have disadvantage on dexterity saving
Gotcha.
throws.
So that's the difference. When you're grappled, it's just your movement 0, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly that. So yeah, at that point, it made it, you know, almost extremely hard for anyone to come out. By the third round, I was thinking that this was a TPK. I really did. It was against 6 players, and they were I mean, honestly, they were under leveled. The Froghemoth comes in at a CR10, and they were 6 player characters and an NPC at level 6.
Let's be honest, the CR system's kind of trash anyway. So.
Right, which is why I thought this might have been an even fight, and it wasn't going to be too difficult. The action economy was on their side. They had extra players compared to the CR level PC ratio. So I was really thinking that this was going to be a bag of hit points. They defeat it and move on to kind of the little puzzle that was next. But yeah, I had one of them swallowed, 4 people grappled, and then there was the NPC was hiding because they were just, you know, just a lowly kind of NPC. They were like a real combatant for them or anything. And then one of the PCs was like got way out of range because
they were like, I'm out.
Yeah. So I really thought at one point it was going to go that way, but their barbarian kind of forced their way, literally muscled their way through the rest of the encounter, and basically saved the whole party.
Is there a max size that it can swallow? Like, I know some of them are like small or smaller creatures.
It's a large.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a huge creature.
Okay.
So, and anything smaller than it.
Oh, large.
Yeah.
I can just imagine it like going up to a giant spider and just.
Yeah. I never even thought about that.
I mean, that would be some of its prey.
Yeah, giant insects is definitely in its realm of food. But yeah, it was just something I really wasn't expecting as far as a creature, so it's the reason I wanted to bring it up today, because I just thought it was something you wouldn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you kind of go in the month. Yeah, I akin it more to like probably a hill giant, where it's kind of just got a little lame stat block, can swing its little club and deal some heavy damage, but otherwise it's just a big bag of hit points.
Yeah, I like seeing creatures like that, because even though you said it's like low in intelligence, yeah, it might be dumb, but it still knows how to use, like, how it hunts and how it can fight. It will use that effectively. You might be able to trick it a lot, but it's still going to pin you down eventually.
Yeah. I mean, the combat was pretty straightforward as far as, like, fighting it, but once I got in that second round, I realized I could grapple, swallow, and...
So, when it's grappling, is it pulling them in, too? So it's like grabbing and pulling, or is it just holding them where they were? Or?
It doesn't actually say... I could actually double check here. Yeah, it doesn't really say that. It doesn't say that it moves them.
Okay, so it just reaches out and grabs them.
Yeah. I was having it then do... when it does its bite attack, so that it can either do 2 tentacle attacks, a bite attack, or a tongue attack. Yeah, so I was having it to bite attack. It was like you're putting it in the mouth.
Gotcha.
But it does the kind of instant swallow, if you will.
What AC and hit points we're looking at?
Yeah, so its armor class has 14, so an elephant.
It's a meat shield, yeah.
Yeah, but the hit points has got 184, so it's a bag of hit points. Its speed is pretty standard, but the thing is it can swim.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the swim speed, you can automatically fight in the water without taking any of the disadvantages. So it was pretty good. It's got a high strength, 23. The con is a 20, but then the intelligence, the intelligence is a 2. So I mean,
yeah,
the dumb big animal, really.
Isn't there a spell that can just instantly do something to low intelligence creatures? Pretty sure there is. I'm gonna have to look at that. There's two intelligence. There's a spell. No. It's the rod or the chime. The illithid device where they click it and it just instantly pacifies anything with an intelligence. I think it's 3 or lower.
Okay.
So
that would make sense.
If they had that and that thing was there, they could just click it. No saves or anything. And I'm pretty sure it just passes out. Done.
Damn. I mean, makes sense. I mean, like I said, it's just a big dumb animal. So I mean, it's not like it's gonna counter that at all.
Yeah.
It does have the stealth and perception skill, so it's a
hunter.
Yeah, it's a predator. Dark vision is nice. It's amphibious, obviously, but then it does have resistances to fire and lightning.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the fire, someone tried to use Hellish Rebuke in our session, and it was not as effective. I mean, it was in the water, so I was like, it's in the water. But then the lightning, no one tried lightning, which I thought someone might have, tried to electrocute the water or something, some kind of generic scenario.
Why is it resistant to lightning? I don't get that one. Does it give a reason or?
Well, it doesn't, but it does have shock susceptibility. So if it takes any lightning damage, then it gets all these
debuffs?
Yeah, kind of debuffs on it. So its speed is halved. It takes a -2 penalty to AC. And then it can't use both action or bonus action on its turn.
It does kind of give you a reason. It came out of a metal canister. Like, it was probably grafted together with, like, electricity or something.
Yeah. I mean, it just looks like some kind of abomination, like something someone made in a science lab and then released, like a bunch of them. They can have offspring, so they can mate with themselves. They're asexual, so they don't need like a mate or anything. So as long as there's one, it can.
And also terrifying.
Go. Yeah, and then once it's born, it just begins to eat anything. So I'm assuming small animals, then giant insects once it starts to get bigger. I mean. In Chult, we're talking dinosaurs that it's eating.
Now I'm picturing xenomorphs. Like, they're like, you get one little facehugger out there, and guess what? It's on its own, so it becomes an actual full-on xenomorph, and eventually becomes its own queen, starts laying eggs, and now you have an infestation.
Yeah. Don't want a froggy infestation. No. Definitely do not want that.
Man, that could be a whole campaign. Some evil person or wizard out there just puts one in a sewer in some city, and
also there's a bunch of froggy myths in the sewers.
Yep, and busting out and start destroying the city. And they have an intelligence of 2, so a wizard could definitely control them.
Oh yeah.
Now
you're giving me ideas. Now we're talking. And then its actions. So the froggy myth makes 2 attacks with its tentacles. It can also use its tongue or bite. And then I won't go through all the attacks, but just in general, it's giving like +10 to its hits, which is pretty standard, I guess, at this point. But it's hitting like half the time. It has reach, so that was something that was nice because the characters were a little bit away, and they knew there was a pool of water, and you see a pool of water anywhere,
especially in a dungeon.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like
that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that's suspicious right there. Yeah, so they were already like trying to get some distance between them and the water, but there was only a small gap between the wall that they were trying to get past. So I kind of pinned them up all against that wall, and I could just reach out and grab anyone. And then because it's got the high strength, it does have like pretty good, decent like grapples. The escape DC is 16, which isn't a lot, but I mean that's not bad.
Definitely above average.
Yeah. And then just looking at it here again, it's doing acid damage when you go into its stomach. That's pretty standard. So each round you're taking another 3d6 damage. That could add up pretty quickly. And then it can hold up to 2 people inside, like 2 medium creatures in its gullet at a time.
A nice little human smoothie.
Yeah. I was like, this thing's crazy. And then to make it regurgitate you after you get swallowed, you have to attack it for. Let me just double check here. 20 damage in a single turn. Okay, so that's not too bad. 20 damage in a single turn. But then for it to regurgitate, it gets a Constitution saving throw.
Which adds high con.
DC 20.
Okay.
With a +9 saving throw.
Okay,
so half the time it's
11, more than half the time. 11. Oh no, yeah, about half the time. 11 or higher, and it passes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. And then of course it's got the tongue, which is in like almost instant grapple. DC 18 grapple check, if it hits anyone, and then it's automatically pulled right into its mouth.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And then next turn it takes a swallow, or it's swallowed right there.
I'm just double checking here. It just says it's pulled into its space, so I'm assuming the next turn then it has to do the bite attack.
And then that will cause it to swallow.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. That's intense.
Yeah. I really was just surprised by the creature. I might have to use it more.
Yeah. Like I said, that could be the start of a. Man, what would it like? What were the minions like? Just bullywugs? So like.
Yeah, but the bullywugs think it's a god. So.
Well, if like an evil wizard released them in a town, or like in the sewer system of maybe one of your arcs.
Yeah.
Bullywugs, I don't think they'd be able to get there unless they were already there, type thing. So. Man, that's some interesting.
Well, now I'm thinking like a bullywug cleric or like a bullywug shaman or something who's like trying to take back the land.
That's not a bad idea. Do they alter their terrain at all, like some powerful beings, or do they just only live?
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't really have anything magical about them, other than them being like some kind of amalgamation of different creatures.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that definitely brings up some ideas. How many small creatures can they fit then? 8?
I don't really know. It doesn't really go.
Or it'd be 4. I think it'd be 4. Because 2 small per medium, right?
It just says. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna correct what I said earlier because it just says hold up to 2 creatures at a time.
Oh, so it could be 2 large creatures.
It could.
Okay, but it
okay. I apologize. I will go back. It can only swallow medium or smaller creatures.
Okay.
But it can tentacle, grapple,
large,
huge.
Oh.
Or smaller.
Can you summon that thing? Like in any of the spells?
I don't think so. I don't know offhand, but I don't know the new summon spells. But of the old summon spells, I don't believe so. Can you polymorph into it? No, because it's not a beast.
True polymorph.
True polymorph.
But I mean, if you're going to be doing true polymorph, it might as well be something.
Yeah, way better than that.
Well, if it's what was it, huge or smaller?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going into a fight where you're going to be fighting a lot of big baddies, that wouldn't be a bad thing. Just grapple 4 of them in one go.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, that's not bad at all, actually.
And then keep them at a range. Grapple them from 10 feet away and just, hey, guess what? My party gets to beat the hell out of you now. Good luck.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Yeah, definitely going to think about more ways to use it. Like I said, it kind of just sprang up on me. I didn't go searching for this creature. It kind of just came to me. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something different than my usual kind of creature.
I like it. For finding mine, I asked my wife to pick a random letter, and she went with W. So I started scrolling through all of the W's, and I liked a bunch of them. I ended up going with the Wraith. CR5, it's basically the big boy Shadow. The Shadow, I'm sure everyone's fought one at some point or has used them. They're good in groups, and when they just kill someone with their life drain in 1d4 hours, a Shadow will come out. No saves or anything, it happens.
Yeah.
The Wraith is...
Oh, okay.
What's up?
No, I was going to ask if the Shadow was doing that. The Shadow does that?
The Shadow does
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if it does a life drain in your hit points become 0, you die, but also in 1d4 hours you become a Shadow.
Yeah.
For the Wraith, let's start off with its challenge rating. It's a CR5 versus the Shadow, which is a 1/2.
Much bigger.
Yeah, it's the big boy. It has a fly speed of 60, so it's probably you're not going to outrun it,
Yeah,
especially if you're in its domain. And then it has incorporeal movement, so it's going through walls and stuff. As long as it doesn't stop, it's not taking damage. And in fact, the description says it moves through objects as if a person was moving through fog. So I'm depicting that as it doesn't get slowed down.
Yeah.
Life drain, it can instantly kill when you get to 0 hit points. Just from its stat block, it's immune to necrotic and poison, which normal undead are immune to that type of thing. And then it's resistant to acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, and non-magical attacks that aren't silvered. So CR5, basically everything you're throwing at it, it's resistant to, which is pretty nice. It only has an AC of 13 and the average of 67 hit points. So it's not hard to hit, you're just going to be dealing half damage, so let's double that to, what would that be? 134 hit points-ish if you're dealing half damage.
Yeah, that could be rough.
The Shadow also has vulnerability to Radiant, which the Wraith does not. It doesn't care.
Okay.
Obviously it's evil. It does have sunlight sensitivity, however.
Okay. Makes sense. It's kind of like a darkness creature.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes sense that it would have
something.
Yeah.
But comparing it to the Shadow has an intelligence of 6, so it's a dumb undead, like most undead. The Wraith, on the other hand, has an intelligence of 12, so it's fairly intelligent. It is a...
It's kind of, I'm surprised, actually.
In fact, in its manual description, it says it can lead legions of undead.
Okay.
So, what makes it kind of scary is it is an intelligent, powerful undead, powerful CR5. But still, if it gets the drop on you, what my plan was is it can come through a wall. As it enters the room, per the lore of it, it snuffs fires just with its presence. Doesn't have to do anything. So if you're relying on torches, that type of thing, the room is now in pure darkness. But I think it's smarter than that. I think it would probably wait until the party is resting or has been beat up, so it can just come in and finish someone off. And if it brings you down with its life drain, you instantly die. Does not raise a new Wraith. However, at will, no action, no reaction, no bonus action, at will, it can just raise that spirit that has recently died within 1 minute as a Wraith under it, and it can have up to 7 of those in one go.
Is it Wraith?
Yes.
It can create other Wraiths?
Other Wraiths, yes.
Holy
So that CR5 just doubled, basically.
Yeah, how did...
So, basically, this thing is like it has its realm, you're fighting undead, and you run into it, already weakened, it comes up, kills you, and now one of your party members is not only dead, is now fighting against you as another version of it. Full health, ready to go, that can also raise its own Wraiths. So that's why it kind of commands a legion of undead, because it makes the undead. And Wraiths come into existence, kind of like how you're saying your Froghemoth comes in, or lore-wise, is from metal cylinders that were underground.
Yeah.
Wraiths are created from a person that was so evil and made so many asshole decisions that its soul, instead of passing on, collapsed into itself into basically a black hole of darkness, and that's how it becomes a wraith. You just have to be such a bad person that you end up hating yourself so much that you become a wraith. And
Wow.
it's pretty bad. Speaking of they hate themselves so much, wraiths despise their past self. They try to forget everything about it. So canon-wise, if I was using a wraith as like a mini boss type thing, I would probably have it so where you could figure out who they were, maybe find a painting of them type thing to maybe get like a stun lock for a round or something like that. Because if you can maybe saying its name type thing, to like try to give a little bit of advantage, especially for like a lower level party, because this could be a big boss in a dungeon.
Yeah, I'm thinking like an ancient mansion that they're sent to go to.
Well,
there's this like warlord dude.
You could do it that way too, but wraiths tend where they exist, they actually alter the area as well. Okay. The animals start becoming corrupt and dying, the plant life starts dying, and it's in a big area too, so much so to the point that the people that usually live there either have to leave or start starving and die because they can't get sustenance anymore because the land's just so screwed over, basically.
I like this.
There's some pretty good little ideas and effects you can do. But I haven't used a wraith against my party, but now that I know how interesting they can be with just, they're smart. Like, not a lot of undead are smart. I like smart undead because that makes them just that much more terrifying, because they'll plan when to get you.
Yeah.
Like, parties going to sleep. It waits for that one character that is down to 2 hit points, comes up from the ground and hits you.
Through the wall.
It comes up from the ground and hits that person with it. There's no reaction to getting hit through the ground. Now that person's dead. It can take a couple minutes to bring it down to 0 hit point max, and now you have a second wraith, and they just start picking party members and going. Now it has an entire group of wraiths. Now the next campaign starts and the party comes through, and now they're fighting 7, 8 wraiths.
Yes.
Yeah, that... It definitely has the chance of some crazy TPKs that you can then encounter later. You're fighting your own spirits.
Yeah. I like the idea of it. Well, I mean, you could definitely... Okay, so... just so many ideas.
I know.
I'm thinking like it's something like almost like a baron or something, like almost a Strahd figure to like maybe a village or something where the people are like doing terrible, but they're like, evil comes from that whatever place, the keep, the mansion, the castle up on the hill or whatever, and then it's kind of this like low level first tier boss. I really like that because then you can use just like skeletons, zombies, shadows to fill out kind of its little minions and whatnot. And then, like you were saying, you get a TPK there. Well, now
it has that many wraiths.
Yeah, now this is not like a low tier fight. This is like a big deal. Or even if just some of the party dies there, and then the other ones want to come in avenge. Now you're talking like getting pretty high in level to have to go take on multiple wraiths. Well,
maybe even this party wasn't the first one that went there.
Yeah.
Maybe this wraith already has 7 wraiths who are now raising their own wraiths. And it's just, and the first wraith controls the other 7. It's not like they're their own individual thing. So that wraith is the leader of those wraiths, of those wraiths, of those wraiths. So it's just like, that's why it controls a legion. And I could totally see this becoming so bad that maybe not swears fealty, but starts working for a powerful necromancer, and they start moving this army of undead from town to town, just building up a wraith army and skeletons and undead, and just as it goes like that, you can just see like the portion of the map from above just slowly start turning into like a decay path as it goes and just gets wider and bigger. That's not a bad idea, because you only have to control that first one. You only have to control the main wraith to control the army.
Right.
And even though it is intelligence...
Now I want to make a necromancer. Summons her. Gets a wraith under their control. And they just...
Control undead?
Yes.
Doesn't it only work for lower intelligence? Because this is intelligence 12.
I don't know if it goes by intelligence. It goes by CR for... what's the first spell? Animate undead?
I believe that is correct.
Create undead gets you something higher. I think you can get up to regular mummies. Not mummy lord, but regular mummies I think you can get.
Actually, it's an Oathbreaker Paladin that gets control undead.
Control undead. I know there's a create undead too. Control undead.
Yes, a control undead. They have to make a wisdom saving throw. Wisdom, not even intelligence. They're wise. Their wisdom's 14. No bonus to that either.
So they're getting a +2 on their check against your spell DC.
And if you take control of it, they must obey your commands for the next 24 hours or until you use your channel divinity again. Which, I mean, at that point, you just do channel divinity again and give it a command to fail the save.
Okay. Okay.
You have a never-ending wraith minion that is raising wraith minions that are under its control.
Yes.
There you go. Oathbreaker Paladin.
You just have to protect your first wraith, because otherwise the other ones might...
Which, as soon as you start getting other wraiths, you just have that one hang out with you. Maybe even find a powerful necromancer, bind it to your Oathbreaker sword.
Okay, you're giving the players too many ideas. This could spiral out of control. I'll have necromancers all over at game tables.
Oh, yeah, you go to the next town. Everything's dead. It's weird. Oh, the next town, too? Yeah, everything's dead. Yeah.
I mean, a wraith single-handedly could probably take out small villages. I'm just thinking, like, Forgotten Realms, 5th edition, some of the small villages, let's say... Phandalin is definitely getting wiped out by a single wraith.
Well, yes, because even a commoner, it hits it once, which its life drain... Let's see what its life drain does. 48 plus 3. One hit, it has another wraith. One hit.
So it goes into one home.
Kills...
Murders the family. It has now let's just say, 4 wraiths under its control.
Yep. Next
we'll go to the church, because that guy's probably going to be the most powerful person in town, or maybe there's some kind of fighter or like warrior type guard that's there. Take out those with your 4 pals now. And now you have an entire, quite literally, a flock of wraiths. And you have no resistance. Yep. That's a Someone's not using wraiths correctly.
That is a quick world-ending event there.
That's what that's all I'm thinking. Like, how does that not happen?
I'm thinking the person has to be so bad that it just doesn't happen that often. Like, yeah, there's real evil people out there, but they're so bad that they hate themselves to the point where they literally implode on themselves when they die.
Yeah.
That takes a certain type of hate that I think
suppose.
A lot of people...
And then the church goes and extinguishes it right away because we
it
don't want
probably,
that problem.
Yeah, honestly, like, when a wraith is made, I'm betting, like, it's not canon, but I'm betting, like, it can probably be sensed by some powerful, like, clerics and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, a new evil just was born on the other side of the state that I'm on.
Yeah.
I need to go right now.
Right.
Get everyone. Get all the paladins. Let's go.
Go to this thing, exercise it, or whatever we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Get this out of here.
I guess one of the cities that would probably be pretty resistant to it is... What's that city in the Forgotten Realms that has the false sun above it?
Elthro?
Yeah, that's probably the safer place to be.
Oh, yeah. There's so many churches there.
Mm-hmm.
So holy.
Yeah. Then again, that'd probably be a necromancer's, like, main target.
Well, you just go to Waterdeep and you slowly just take Waterdeep out.
Oh god.
And then you just walk over there. Or Baldur's Gate. Ooh, Baldur's Gate would be real easy.
Mm-hmm. Lots of corruption there too. They'd probably be into it. I can
It's
become
the new thing.
well. When the Wraith creates more Wraiths, it's not that those people were also evil. They describe it as ripping a fragment of woe from them.
Oh wow.
So
I like that.
it's kind of fun. I really like the Wraith. Like it's such a simple creature, but if it's actually playing intelligently, it can mess some stuff up.
Yeah, I guess I always fight against shadows, and what's the other one I'm thinking of?
Ghosts
Probably.
maybe, or
yeah, it's the one that's not a wraith. Whatever the undead that's incorporeal that's not a wraith is the one I come across. I'd say more. I don't think I've ever fought a wraith, and I've certainly never used one.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna be throwing this at my party. I'm not gonna lie.
Even the image from the player's handbook is like pretty sick.
Yeah, I like how it has a crown. I really like that.
Yeah, like it's giving me a Lord of the Rings vibes a little bit.
What is a death tyrant? I'm gonna keep going.
It's a undead beholder, I think. That's the death tyrant. No.
A ghast, maybe? You think it'd be ghast?
Oh yes. No. A ghast is a chief ghoul.
Yep, that's right.
I think it's banshee is what I'm thinking of maybe.
Banshees are mean, man. Like people think banshees are easy.
It's a lesser CR. That's my point. Is I don't think I've ever fought an incorporeal creature that's
Revenant?
as tough as a wraith. No, a revenant's like a zombie person, half dead kind of situation.
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist maybe it is a ghost I'm thinking of, because the poltergeist is like a subcategory of the ghost.
Banshee. Yeah, Banshee's CR4, but
Maybe that is still what I'm thinking.
it has whale.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like honestly, if you even if you beat their saving throw, you take 3d6 psychic damage. If you fail, you just drop to 0. Like
It's definitely the banshee I'm thinking of. It's definitely that, because I remember it being pretty hard, but
it walks in and screams,
Yeah.
and half your group dies.
yes, terrifying. What about the race stat line?
Sunlight sensitivity, like I said, incorporeal movement. Stat-wise, very weak, but I mean, you can't get your hands on it anyways. Strength of 6, Dex of 16, Con of 16, which is actually kind of surprising for undead. Intelligence of 12, Wisdom of 14, and surprisingly, Charisma of 15. So
Okay.
but no special saving throws. But it is immune, has immunities, and I didn't even mention the condition immunities. It cannot be charmed, exhausted, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, or restrained.
Oh wow.
So basically, any of the normal things
Magic.
it can't. Yeah.
Magic. It
Wait.
just needs magic damage.
And isn't turning undead a charm effect?
No.
It's
I
not.
think turning undead is its own special thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because it doesn't even frighten you. It's just straight up. All undead have to leave the space. Get as far away from you as possible.
Gotcha.
What languages does it speak?
Any languages that it knew in its past life, which I think is kind of ironic because it hates its past life.
Well, it still knows those. I mean, it. So now I got the gears turning. Like it's not only like some kind of intelligent undead that's seeking out to just murder and like
It has.
create more of itself. It like has probably some kind of goal set or
Mm-hmm.
it wants to do things, and it can like speak and like be good at it.
Yeah.
Like if you were rolling some kind of deception or like persuasion check for it, it's like not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not proficient or anything, but what is it proficient in? Anything?
No.
No? Okay, yeah. But still, I mean, this thing comes out of the wall, kills your friend, starts speaking to you
Mm-hmm.
as it raises your friend into another wraith.
I could totally picture it trying to fake, like, a victim, too. to get you to split off from your party.
There you go. It's like speaking through the walls and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh boy. My players better hold on. I'm throwing
Maybe
wood
I
at
shouldn't
somewhere.
bring good creatures to this chat.
It's coming up somewhere.
Wraiths are... They're a lot of fun. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, now we know. Now we know.
Evil planning.
Yes.
Quite literally. Evil planning.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And if you have any encounters with a Froghemoth or a Wraith, you can leave them in the comment section down below. Have a good game.
And have a great day.